Sample that!
Welcome to Sample That. I'm your host, Weston Kenyon. I have with me my two brothers, Levi and Gideon. And this is just a show for fun. We're going to be basically just sampling random stuff, and I have to make a song out of it. The rules are that I have to only use the samples that we record to make the song, so I can't use any actual instruments or percussion. Everything in the song has to be stuff that we record, so all the percussion needs to be random stuff. We'll have certain topics to each video. This one is going to be just random stuff around the house, just to kind of establish something here. But all the percussion needs to be stuff around the house, but also the melodic elements need to be. I can't use actual synthesizers or instruments or anything, so all of the instruments need to be sampled objects, which is slightly more difficult than doing percussion, but I think I can pull it off. I think this is going to be fun. This is going to be a very raw, unpolished show, so I'm not going to be scripting anything out. I'm just going to talk. That's why there's so many pauses and it's so unprofessional. I don't care about professionalism. This is a YouTube video. Welcome back to old YouTube. So today, as I said, we're going to be sampling stuff around the house and making a song with it. The second rule is it has to be a good song that we actually like and want to listen to in the car. So sampling stuff around the house, everything has to come from the samples. Let's get it. All right, so I should probably mention that this is inspired by Andrew Huang and Rob Scallon's series Sonic Boom, which just ended. They're not doing any more of this. I love Andrew Huang and Rob Scallon, and I loved Sonic Boom, and I love 1st of October. We have my recorder that I use for all ambience. I've used this for years. I think I probably bought it around 2020. It's around $400. It's a Tascam MK 100 something or other. I don't know, it's not important. For a kick drum, we're going to start with a kick drum, of course. I have this library of practical information. No idea what's in this book, but I'm going to use a few of the pages, and I'm just going to, you're smart, you can figure it out. Even if it shows it's peaking, sometimes it's still fine. We'll see. Alright, so to layer the kick, just to be safe, make sure I have enough sounds to use. We're just going to use this tub, your plastic tub, full of junk. And apparently this junk matters. I don't know. It looks like a bunch of DVDs. Family movies. Okay, I don't know why that matters so much. These could all be replaced, but I'm going to record him using his boot to make noise. Okay, so for a snare, I'm going to use... What is in here?
Cheese balls.
Cheese balls? Since when did we ever eat cheese balls? It's a giant... this is actually, fun fact, the original bowl of cheese balls from the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. That's a complete lie, but we're going to use the tin foil on top of it, or aluminum foil, whatever it is, because it literally just sounds like a snare.
It's gone bad, that stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's a pretty solid snare sound. Okay, so for a hi-hat cymbal, I'm going to just use a pair of scissors. Actually, this thing does need a haircut. Okay, so now that we've got the basic, foundation of the track, the kick drum, the hi-hat cymbal, and the snare, we could do additional crap on top of that. Do all the ear candy, all the random percussion. So, first off, we have this transparent Easter egg thing. He's going to be popping it open. It's going to make a pretty nice sound.
Well, you can just do it in your mouth.
Oh, yeah!
I
literally just made the popping sound with my mouth.
It's not as good after hearing the real deal.
It's cracking.
Yeah, I might just have to use my mouth. I actually did sample me doing that before, and I made a melody with it. It was like there goes that. It was like a Martin Garrix Animal type of sound,
It sounds like somebody's doing, yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna use a jar of salsa, and Gideon here is gonna open it, pop the cap for the first time because this is sealed still, and we only have one take to get this right. So let's see what sound I make. That was pretty good. Okay, so the next object we have for random percussion is this pretty hefty pocket knife. Oh, it's from Bass Pro Shops. Alright, so next up, we have Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, one of the greatest movies. I'm just going to be closing it.
It's pretty stupid.
Pretty straightforward. Okay, so next I'm going to use the smart TV remote. Pop out one of the batteries. Use the spring in here. Alright, so I'm going to get some kind of transitional effect to, transition into each section of the song. So I need a riser, and I think this might do the trick. We'll see. We'll see in post. I think I'll be able to do something with that, and then I can reverse it too to make it kind of come in and then go out. Okay, so we're going to use the power chain, whatever you call this thing, to the fan. See on the fan. That's what they call it. This is to turn off the light, and it's broken, so when we want the fan on, we have to have the light on too, which is really annoying at night. The glare messes up our viewing experience on the smart TV. First world problems. Anyway, I'm going to use a bowl of cat food. Cats are way better than dogs. Let's do this. Okay, so now we're moving on from percussion to the actual melodic elements that are gonna, be the chords, the melody, and all that. Levi here is going to be mastering the art of the slide whistle. Super cheap crap instrument. It's not really an instrument. It's actually mostly for sound effects, like cartoon comedy, corny sound effects. And this one sounds particularly bad. Like it's so raspy and.
Well, I like that.
Oh, it's damaged. That might have something to do with it.
The tip is.
If you fix that, bend it with a screwdriver, it might work.
But he's just going to hold out and I'm going to sample that and play it on my keyboard at home. So when Andrew Huang and Rob Scallon were recording the Slide With You song on Sonic Boom, they said that you have to record it from the side because it, I don't know, probably is super loud.
It's coming out that hole.
So I'm going to do that just to be safe.
You gotta fix the tip.
Might be able to get something out of that. It's dubious. I'm kind of skeptical, but I might make it work. I don't know what we're going to use for the other sounds, so that's going to be our main melody. What am I going to use for chords? And bass. Sample that.
Sample that. Yeah!
Okay, so we're going to do another take of this because we pried open the mouthpiece with that pocket knife we used. Yeah, we found a pretty good note right there. And Gideon actually left to go ride his mini bike. So I'm going to film and record it at the same time. I say it'll work, but I don't know that for a fact. So by around the house, you didn't think I just meant inside, did you? Okay, of course we have to get a car horn, and that's going to be good for some sort of melodic element. I'm going to get a one shot, and I'm going to get a drawn out note, so I'm going to hold the horn down, which is going to be super annoying for the neighbors. Thankfully we're out in the country, so our neighbors are pretty far away, but I mean, you can hear everything out here. You can hear cars up on the ridge over there. Everything's, a horn is going to be super loud, but... Okay. Let's go back inside before we get the cops called on us. Okay, so I lied. We're still outside, but we're going to try to get some noise out of the cat. This one is named Cuddles. That's a good thing to use as an instrument. So we're gonna cheat and we're gonna sample bass playing on a speaker on a subwoofer. It's kind of cheating. It's kind of not though, because we're still sampling it. So
Man, I could do it. I could do it on the 12 in the box. It'll sound a lot fuller.
Featuring celebrity actor from Prankster.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is the final thing I'm going to sample today. A Jenga tower falling. So, don't know what I'm going to do with that, but thank you for watching. Sample that. I almost forgot the name of the show. Okay, so now we're going to cut to me in the studio, and by the studio, I mean just my room. And it's going to be a screen recording of me in FL Studio. And I'm going to make the song off camera, and then I'm just going to, after I make it, give you a brief breakdown, show you what I did, all the samples and stuff, how they sound, and show you how I made it. And then we'll play the song all the way through. And it may or may not be released. Well, it probably will be released separately, so you can listen to it separately out of the video. So let's cut to the studio. All right, so now we're in FL Studio, and this is the song. It's complete. Took me 7 hours to make. And I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown of it. This is sort of the main section right here. So I'm just going to play this through. Of course, I'll show you the whole song afterwards, and it'll be uploaded separately. But I'll just let this play through so that you kind of have context for when I'm showing you the isolated tracks and all the other sounds separately. So this is sort of the main part. So it's very fun. It's very kind of Owl City-esque, but I mean, Owl City is my favorite artist, but that was not the intention when I jumped into this. Just kind of, I guess my inner Owl City came out in this project. So you're probably thinking, wait, what? I thought you said the rules to sample this are that you can only use the samples to make the song. How come you have all sorts of like synthesizers and stuff? You have this. You have this. Well, my dear friend, those are the samples. So, kind of goes to show what, amazing things can come about when you manipulate samples in the right way. So I'll get to the melodic elements, but first, let's start with the drums. Let's just get this out of the way. We have 3 kick drums. One of them is me slamming the book. One of them is Gideon banging a tub with his boot. And the other one is the door. This is the book. And that's layered with the tub. Kind of gives it more bottom, more bass. And then that's layered with the door. Which of course gives it even more bass, or as we producers say, bottom. And then you have this second layer of a snare and a clap, and of course this snare is me tapping aluminum foil, and that sounds like this. Kind of sounds like a snare. And then we have a clap, which is me and my brothers clapping. It's a very clean clap. It sounds like a sample you would find in a sample library. But this is, they're both layered. With the kick. It's a very stomp kick. Like, I actually use stomp kicks a lot, so it's kind of in my style here. I mean, of course I made it, so of course it's in my style, but the samples we recorded served well for that purpose. There's this layer, which has 3 different elements going on. We have scissors that kind of work as a hi-hat. We have
me shaking a bowl of cat food, which of course I recorded a one shot of, and then I just programmed it in to sound like I'm shaking it. It makes it so that it's perfectly on the grid, because if it's kind of like lagging or going too fast, it kind of throws the whole thing off. So I like to just record a one shot, and then I program it in like this. And there, of course, there's a swing to the song, so you gotta in this section you gotta put it to 1/6 beat, whatever that means. There's a swing to this beat. It doesn't sound just like it's very different. And so we have, instead of, you know, a standard beat, this one would fall right here, and then so on. But since there's a swing to this beat, it's kind of off beat, it's kind of offset, and so it has this swing to it. And then there's this, me flicking the spring in the place where you put the batteries in the remote. And it's this kind of little like machine gun sounding thing. And then all three of them. And then there's one more layer to the percussion, and it actually has 5 different sounds going on. So first off, we have the Pirates of the Caribbean DVD case closing. And I kind of had fun with that. I pitched it differently and kind of made it sound like just like percussion in the background. It's like echoey and stuff. I made it kind of sound like distant, like a Cajun drum or something. I'm not quite sure what that sounds like, but it kind of reminds me of like what I would do with the Cajun drum, I guess. And that'll make a lot more sense in the context of the full beat. But this is the fan power cord chain, whatever. So I pulled it down, and then I let it go, and this is the sound of it being let go. Of course, these sound effects that happen like once in a while sporadically, you can't really hear a rhythm to it unless I bring in the other samples. But this right here is Gideon opening the jar of salsa. This is the Jenga tower falling. This is Levi opening the pocket knife. And then, of course, all together. And then this is all of the percussion together in a nice, clean, custom sample beat. Then right here we have Gideon yelling or screaming that I didn't catch on camera. We were recording the intro afterward off camera, and he decided to scream during that recording, so I decided to sample it in turn and put it in the song. This is what it sounded like raw. Wow! It's pretty crazy. Wow! Then I pitched it down, panned it to the left, and then I put a whole bunch of effects on it, including delay. And then I slapped a pitch automation on here so that the pitch rises over this short period of time. And then I put a volume automation here that kind of breaks it up and makes it sound like this. Very interesting sound effect. And listen to this in context. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I like that. Then we have this reverse. I believe this is the tin foil or the aluminum foil, whatever it is. Reversed. So it's just the same aluminum foil hit that I showed you before, just reversed. And then we have a sort of white noise riser, which was the Art Supply Lazy Susan spinning. It has a lot of effects on it. It's really distant. This is what it sounded like raw. This is how it sounds now. And of course I have pitch automation on that. I have pan automation. And I just kind of made it sound like a white noise riser. Here's it going up and then back down. So it really does sound like a white noise riser. And actually it kind of just sounds like a riser in general, because you kind of had that kind of tonal, kind of like siren sounding thing. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the melodic elements of the song. And these are the chords, which kind of are the foundation of the entire track. Very chill and mellow. But you might be wondering what sound that is, because it kind of sounds like just like an organ or a synthesizer or something. That, believe it or not, is actually the slide whistle. That's the raw recording right there. And so I sampled it, and I made it into a playable instrument. And then this is the sub bass from Obi's subwoofer in his truck. And it just follows the chords. And it's not supposed to have sidechain on it. To get rid of that, I need to turn on the automation clip up here, which it's in the same track as the kick drum, so you'll hear that too. Might as well turn this on. And as I said, the sub bass just follows the chords. Of course, if you're listening to this on your phone, you won't even be able to hear it. Then we have my favorite part, which is this little arpeggio. And I guess this is what gives it its Owl City sound. Has a lot of delay. It's bouncing around in your ears. A lot of reverb. And of course, this is following the chords. It's just an arpeggiated version of the chords, which I didn't use any like shortcuts to do this. I manually programmed it. But this sound is also the slide whistle. I found that the slide whistle has a very pleasant, airy sound to it. And when put into this context, it sounds like a synthesizer. It actually sounds like a sine wave. It's very beautiful. And And then I just copied this over into this pop sound, which is me doing this with my cheek and my thumb. And I just copied the arpeggio from the slide whistle into a pattern with the pop. And it sounds like so. And that is all for this section of the song. Now, of course, there are other sections to the song, and there are sound effects that occur only once. That's the general idea of it, but let me just show you these one-off sound effects. This is my little sister Rachel
Sample that.
saying sample that. This is one of our cats. Our cat Cuddles, the gray cat. This is Levi, which again, same story as the Gideon screaming one. This is Levi saying let's go, and he kind of just did that as he just said that for fun during our off-camera recording of the intro of us all saying sample that. I couldn't not put that in, especially before the section of the song that serves as the drop. And then we have over here another, okay, we have a horn right here, the car horn. This is the Crown Vic horn. I have 5 different horns here. That's horn 1, so yeah, that is the Crown Vic. That's my Crown Vic. Okay. This is me laughing. Which you can hardly tell because it's rather highly processed. That sounded like this. And that's what it sounds like now. And then at the end of the song we have another mew from the same cat. With delay on it. And this is this horn. It's this horn. This is Obi's truck. I sampled that and I turned it into a playable instrument. So these are the same chords, but they're just moving now, kind of propelling the track forward. And then we have the same thing going on with this. Which might sound like an instrument or a VST preset, and it's not. Believe it or not, it's not. It's not a VST, it's not an instrument. It's actually this little beeping sound that when you have the keys in Obi's truck's ignition and you have the door open, it does this beeping sound like most cars do. And I just sampled that, of course, turned it into a playable instrument. Sounds really nice. We just have all the same elements as before, but they're following this pattern. This is the slide whistle. Sub bass. The pop, me popping my cheek with my thumb. And then we have this, which is, again, my little sister Rachel saying, yeah. And this is 2 different takes. One is this.
Yeah.
And one is this.
Yeah.
And that's just layered. One is panned all the way right. One is panned all the way left. And that just plays in the background of this build-up section. So over here, I already showed you Gideon screaming. It sounds like this. Later on in the song, before the drop, at this build-up, there's one that's processed a little differently, and it sounds like this. That's Gideon screaming again. It's just processed differently. Alright, then there's this layer here that sounds a lot like mini synth. It sounds a lot like this plug-in that I always use, which is great because I always use it in songs, but I managed to find something else that sounds just like it. And this is, I believe, yep, the slide whistle again, of course. That was the most melodic sample I had, so that was my best bet to get something that I could actually play a melody on. And so this is the slide whistle. It sounds a lot like a synthesizer, with the pitch glide. That is what gives it its kind of synthesizer sound. It's very distant, panned all the way to the right, and then we have another one that's panned to the left, and this is actually the cat. I sampled the cat and made it. It's very quiet, so you can hardly hear it. But I sampled the cat and made it a playable instrument. Again, it's very quiet, it's hard to hear, but that's a cat singing, pretty much. I turned it into a playable instrument, and even if I hold a note, it'll play out. It'll just keep looping. So I can hold long notes, and I could, of course, do short notes. Same thing with the slide whistle here, I think. Yeah. Short notes. Long notes. And that is all. That's everything. So I'll just play the song for you right now. I hope you enjoy.
Sample that.
for watching episode 1 of Sample That.